There's something unusual happening inside your mind right now. As you watch this, your brain is quietly deciding whether to stay focused or switch to something easier. A calculation it makes thousands of times a day, slowly destroying your ability to do anything meaningful. But here's the twist: the same neural mechanism that pushes you away from hard work can actually be flipped to make you crave it. Imagine if discipline could feel as satisfying as scrolling your phone. This isn't motivational hype, this is neuroscience. And once you understand how your brain truly operates, you'll finally see why willpower keeps failing you and what actually works instead. Your brain follows a simple rule: what gives me the best return for the least energy? Every action gets judged instantly. High effort with uncertain reward, your brain hits the brakes. Low effort with guaranteed pleasure, full green light. None of this means you're weak, it's ancient survival programming from a time when conserving energy kept you alive. The real issue is that your old brain is now living in a modern world engineered to exploit it. Every app, every snack, every piece of content is designed to trigger the exact neural pathways that make you feel good with zero effort. Your brain isn't broken, it's being hacked. When you can't start that project or convince yourself to hit the gym, there's something deeper happening inside your brain. It all traces back to a tiny cluster of neurons called the nucleus accumbens, your mind's built-in motivation engine. This system runs on dopamine, but not the way most people imagine. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical, it's the wanting chemical. It surges not when you get the reward, but when you anticipate it. That's why scrolling feels so addictive. Every swipe hints at something new, and your brain keeps pumping dopamine to push you toward the next hit. But here's the catch: when you flood your brain with too many of these effortless dopamine spikes, it adapts. The process is called downregulation. Your dopamine receptors literally decrease in number, almost as if your brain is slowly turning down the volume on satisfaction itself. As your brain adapts, you start needing more stimulation just to feel interested at all. A book that once pulled you in now feels dull. A workout that used to energize you suddenly feels impossible. It's not that you've lost discipline, you're experiencing a tolerance effect the same way people build tolerance to any drug. This is why heavy social media users often feel the most unmotivated. Their brains have been conditioned to expect constant, effortless rewards. Anything that requires real focus feels like punishment in comparison. The effort-to-reward ratio becomes completely distorted, and your mind starts craving instant gratification over genuine achievement. But here's the hopeful part. Because of neuroplasticity, the very system that became overloaded can also be rewired. What's been disrupted can be restored. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on what you do. Every decision, big or small, is strengthening the pathways of discipline or reinforcing the ones that pull you toward distraction. The question isn't whether your brain will change, but which direction you're shaping it. So what exactly is a dopamine detox, and why does it work? Despite the name, you're not detoxing from dopamine itself. You're removing the artificial hyperstimulating sources that are overwhelming your system. Think of your dopamine network like a dimmer switch that's been stuck at maximum brightness for so long that normal light now looks like darkness. A dopamine detox is simply turning that dial back down so your brain can recalibrate what normal actually feels like. And when you strip away those constant hits of easy pleasure, something surprising happens. Your dopamine receptors begin to upregulate. They become more sensitive again. Suddenly, the things that once felt boring start to feel engaging. The quiet satisfaction of finishing a task, the natural energy after a workout, the calm you feel during focused work. These real lasting rewards finally begin to register. You're not transforming into someone completely new. You're simply returning to your baseline, the version of you that could feel motivated without needing constant stimulation. You're beginning to remember what it feels like to be motivated by real internal satisfaction instead of constant external stimulation. But here's where most people slip. They try to muscle through the process relying on pure willpower. And willpower alone simply can't compete with a brain that's been starved of dopamine and is begging for its next hit. What you really need is to understand the transition period. In the first few days, you'll feel restless, irritable, maybe even anxious. That isn't weakness, it's withdrawal. Your brain has gotten used to a certain level of stimulation, and now you're taking it away. The discomfort you feel is actually evidence that the reset is working. Your brain is being forced to adjust. The key is remembering that this phase is temporary. Most people quit right before the breakthrough because they mistake the discomfort for doing something wrong. But that restlessness, that's your brain reorganizing itself. Push through it. Here's what this looks like in practice. Start by identifying your highest dopamine activities, not what you enjoy most, but what gives you the biggest hit for the least effort. For most people, that's the phone, social media, short-form videos, games. It can also be junk food, online shopping, or pornography. Anything that delivers intense pleasure with almost no effort is your target. The key is you don't need to eliminate these forever, just long enough for your brain to reset. Choose a time frame. 3 days is the minimum, 7 is better, and 14 can be genuinely transformative. This temporary break creates scarcity, forcing your brain to seek satisfaction in activities that actually require effort. But you can't just cut things out, you must replace them. Your brain won't tolerate an empty space. So intentionally add slower, more meaningful activities. Read a physical book, cook instead of ordering, walk without headphones, exercise without music, journal by hand, or have a real conversation. At first, these things will feel boring because your dopamine system is used to high-intensity stimulation. But stay with it. As you keep showing up, your brain begins releasing dopamine in anticipation of these slower rewards. After a few days, opening a book feels naturally satisfying. After a week of workouts, your brain starts craving the endorphins and the sense of accomplishment. You're not just forming new habits, you're retraining your entire reward system. There's an important difference between pleasure and satisfaction. Pleasure is instant and short-lived. It comes from external stimulation and requires almost no effort. Satisfaction, on the other hand, takes time. It's deeper, longer-lasting, and comes from genuine accomplishment. And in today's world, we're flooded with constant pleasure but starved of real satisfaction. That's why you can spend an entire day entertained and still crawl into bed feeling strangely empty. Your brain got pleasure but not fulfillment. A dopamine detox shifts your focus from chasing quick hits to building true satisfaction. And here's the part. Most people never hear satisfaction actually produces more dopamine in the long run than pleasure ever could. When you do something hard, when you push through resistance and reach the other side, your brain releases a powerful blend of dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. It's the same rush athletes describe as a runner's high, the same quiet joy creators feel after hours of deep work. It's the kind of contentment that comes from discipline far stronger and far more enduring than anything a notification can give you. The neuroscience fully supports this. Research shows that delaying gratification activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and self-control. And the more you practice delaying gratification, the stronger these neural pathways become. Meanwhile, instant gratification lights up the brain's more primitive areas, the limbic system, which runs on impulse and emotion. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're literally strengthening the higher, more advanced parts of your brain and weakening the impulsive ones. It's like upgrading your internal operating system. Over time, that shift becomes your new default. Discipline no longer feels like a fight with yourself. It starts to feel natural. That's what people really mean when they say discipline becomes a habit. It's not that it suddenly becomes easy. It's that your brain slowly rewires itself to prefer it. Let me tell you what happens after a real dopamine detox. Your attention span begins to stretch. Things that used to bore you in minutes suddenly hold your focus for an hour. Your mind feels clearer, sharper ideas flow more easily, and decisions come quicker because you're no longer glued to your phone searching for constant validation. You'll also feel a steady rise in energy, no longer trapped in the exhausting cycle of dopamine spikes and crashes. And here's the surprising part, you'll start feeling genuine excitement about tasks that once felt like chores. That project you've been avoiding, you'll actually want to dive into it. That gym session, you'll look forward to it. This isn't fake motivation or forced positivity. This is your brain finally working the way it was designed to before it was hijacked by endless algorithms. Here's the part most people don't want to hear. This isn't a one-time fix. Your brain will always try to drift back toward easy rewards. That's not a flaw, it's how the system was built. The real key is creating structures that make discipline the path of least resistance. This is where your environment becomes everything. If your phone sits next to your bed, you'll check it the moment you wake up. If healthy food is visible and ready, you'll eat it. If your workout clothes are already laid out, you're far more likely to use them. Willpower can't save you if your environment constantly pulls you in the opposite direction. So design your life intentionally. Make dopamine-heavy habits harder to reach and make satisfying habits effortless to start. Delete social media apps from your phone. Use website blockers. Leave your phone in another room when you work. Make junk food inconvenient and healthy choices accessible. Every barrier you place between yourself and distraction is a silent vote for the person you're becoming. There's also a social piece to all of this that people often ignore. The people around you are constantly shaping your dopamine baseline. If everyone in your circle is scrolling, binge-watching, and chasing instant gratification, it's almost inevitable that you'll drift in the same direction. But if you surround yourself with people who value focused discipline and deep work, their habits start to rub off on you. This doesn't mean abandoning your friends. It simply means being intentional about who you spend your time with and what you do together. Seek out communities that support the behaviors you want to build. Find accountability partners who share the same goals. Your brain is shaped not just by what you do, but by who you're with. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you are probably thinking, "This sounds miserable. Why would I make life harder on purpose?" And that reaction is part of the trap. You're viewing discipline through the lens of a brain that's already been hijacked. From where you are right now, discipline does feel harder than distraction. But on the other side, once your brain recalibrates, discipline actually becomes easier. Distraction leaves you feeling empty, anxious, and constantly behind. Discipline leaves you feeling accomplished, confident, and in control. So which one is truly harder? Spending your days chasing dopamine hits that never satisfy you, or building a life where effort itself feels rewarding? The path that looks easiest in the moment often becomes the path of greatest resistance in the long run. This entire journey is about taking back control of your own mind. Because if you're being honest, you're not really the one steering the wheel right now. Your phone tells you when to feel bored. Algorithms decide what you think about. Apps quietly dictate how you spend your time. That isn't freedom, it's hijacking. Real freedom is having a brain that works for you, not against you. It's being able to choose something difficult and genuinely enjoy doing it. It's waking up excited about your work instead of dreading the day ahead. It's going to bed feeling satisfied instead of guilty. That's what waits on the other side of this process. Not perfection, not effortless living, but alignment. The moment when your actions finally match your intentions. Your daily choices start moving you toward your goals instead of pulling you away from them. And yes, the rewiring process never truly ends. You're always reinforcing something, discipline or distraction. Every moment is a vote. But once you reset your dopamine system, those votes become easier. The pull of distraction grows weaker. The pull toward meaningful work becomes stronger. You begin to develop what psychologists call intrinsic motivation. You do things because they're satisfying in themselves, not because you're chasing a notification or someone else's approval. This is the highest form of discipline, not forced, not white-knuckled, but natural. It becomes who you are. So here's what I want you to do. Don't just finish this video and move on. That's what the old version of you would do. Instead, make one real decision. Right now, what is the single biggest source of empty dopamine in your life? Identify it. Then commit to removing it for the next 7 days. Not forever, just 7 days. Pay attention to what happens. Notice the restlessness. Notice when it peaks. Notice when it fades. Watch what fills the space. Feel how your relationship with effort starts to shift. Document it. Because once you see your brain rewiring itself in real time, you won't want to go back. You'll realize you weren't meant to live as a slave to algorithms and impulses. You were meant to be someone who does hard things and actually loves doing them. That version of you is already waiting. And the path to becoming them starts with one simple choice: let your brain breathe. Step away from the noise. Trust that on the other side of temporary discomfort is long-term transformation. Your brain is ready to be rewired. The only question is, are you ready?